We live in an era where everyone demands total transparency, yet we build our lives entirely on invisible exits. You swipe open your phone screen, locate a specific conversation, press down on the bubble, and hit delete. You tell yourself it is just digital housekeeping. You tell yourself that clearing storage space keeps your mind organized, that wiping clean a thread of messages is merely a practical habit of a minimalist digital citizen. But let us stop lying to ourselves for a single second. You did not delete that chat because your phone storage was full. You did not clear that history because you suddenly became a devout minimalist who detests clutter. You deleted it because of a quiet, creeping terror that you cannot even admit to your closest friends. You deleted it because of the suffocating fear of having to explain a ghost. Think about the sheer weight of that specific scenario. It is late at night, the room is dead silent, and your phone rests face up on the table next to you. Someone you live with, or someone who shares your space, glances casually at your screen. It is an innocent look, nothing more, nothing less. But your heart instantly spikes. Your nervous system reacts as if you have just been caught committing a high-stakes crime. Why? Because right there, sitting in plain sight in your recent message list, is a name. A chat thread with a person who officially does not exist anywhere else in your life. They are not tagged in your photos. They are not mutual friends with your family. They do not occupy any physical space in your daily routine, your social media feeds, or your public biography. To the rest of the world, this person is a phantom, a zero, an absolute non-entity. And that is precisely where the panic sets in. If someone were to pick up your phone, unlock it, and ask you a simple, straightforward question like, "Who is this?" Or, "What are you two talking about?" your brain would instantly short-circuit. You realize, with a sudden drop in your stomach, that you have no good answer. How do you explain a connection that defies your established public architecture? How do you justify a string of late-night messages with someone who belongs to a separate, isolated orbit of your existence? You cannot. Because giving an explanation requires a narrative, and a narrative requires a foundation of shared reality that you have deliberately chosen not to build. So, instead of facing the awkward, heavy burden of accounting for an invisible presence, you choose the coward's way out. You tap the screen, you erase the evidence, and you return the digital landscape to a pristine, sterile state of absolute nothingness. You wipe away the words so you never have to find the sentences to defend them. We convince ourselves that secrecy is the same as privacy, but most of the time, it is just preemptive defense against an interrogation that hasn't even happened yet. You look at the empty chat window, and you feel a strange mix of relief and emptiness. The relief comes from knowing the threat of exposure has been neutralized. The emptiness comes from realizing how fragile your entire digital existence actually is. We carry around supercomputers capable of connecting us to billions of people across the globe, yet we spend half our time frantically deleting the proof that we ever spoke to anyone outside of our sanctioned boundaries. We build virtual walls, not to keep out the outside world, but to hide the fact that we are leading parallel lives in the margins of our own routine. Every deleted chat is a confession of guilt without a crime. It is an admission that you care more about avoiding an uncomfortable conversation than you do about preserving the authenticity of your own connections. Consider the mechanics of modern guilt. It does not feel like a heavy chain dragging you down. It feels like a twitchy finger hovering over a delete button. You start memorizing the exact threshold of what is acceptable to keep and what must be purged before midnight. You become a meticulous archivist of your own concealment. If the relationship cannot be neatly labeled, categorized, and presented on a silver platter for public inspection, then it becomes a liability. And in the modern world, liabilities are deleted with a single swipe of the thumb. We have mastered the art of erasing our own footprints while pretending we were never walking anywhere to begin with. We trade genuine vulnerability for the safety of plausible deniability. If there is no record, there is no risk. If there is no chat history, there is no person. If there is no person, there is nothing to explain. It is a brilliant, self-sustaining loop of emotional cowardice disguised as routine maintenance. Yet, the irony is glaring. We spend so much energy scrubbing our tracks that we end up living in constant fear of our own devices. The phone in your hand is no longer a tool for communication. It is a ticking time bomb of unverified associations. Every notification makes you flinch. Every lingering glance from a partner or a friend feels like a potential audit. You are living in a prison of your own making, where the guards are your own browsing habits and the inmates are the memories you refuse to let take up permanent residence. You want the excitement of the hidden connection, but you refuse to pay the emotional tax of owning it. You want the warmth of the conversation, but the moment the screen goes dark, you panic at the thought of leaving a trace. So you burn the bridge digitally, watching the ashes fall into the abyss of cached memory, convincing yourself that tomorrow you will start fresh, clean, and entirely unaccountable. This is the hidden tax of living dual lives in a hyper-connected society. We are terrified of being misunderstood, yet we give people zero context to understand us. We hide the fragments of our lives because we are too exhausted to defend them against the rigid expectations of the people around us. We want the freedom to converse with ghosts, but we lack the spine to acknowledge that we are the ones who summon them. So the cycle continues. New chats are opened, late-night words are exchanged, the tension builds quietly in the background, and eventually, the thumb moves toward the bottom of the screen. Tap. Confirm. Delete. The ghost vanishes back into the ether, leaving behind a clean screen and a hollow soul. You sit there in the quiet room, completely safe from any awkward questions, completely free of any evidence, and entirely, profoundly alone with a secret you were too afraid to keep and too cowardly to explain. You delete the text to hide the ghost. You keep the ghost to escape your life.